California Governor Gavin Newsom is now calling his city's homeless encampments unacceptable, which is odd since he's the guy who, made them acceptable, turning sidewalks into red carpet events for drug addicts, thieves, and unemployed CNN anchors. On Monday, he urged cities to ban the camps from sidewalks, parks, and other public areas. So after years of denying the problem, he's now pretending to fix it, which is like putting on a condom as you're leaving a whorehouse.
California's governor, Gavin Newsom, has suddenly discovered that sprawling homeless encampments across his state are unacceptable. That's the new word coming from the man who, for years, practically rolled out the welcome mat for tents, needles, and chaos to dominate the sidewalks of San Francisco, Los Angeles, and beyond. And into this theater of hypocrisy stepped Greg Gutfeld. With his trademark smirk, his sarcasm sharpened like a scalpel, and a monologue that cut deeper than most political speeches ever could, he torched the polished image Newsom has spent years perfecting. This wasn't comedy in the traditional sense, it was demolition. Newsom's sudden fury over tent cities isn't about concern for Californians. It's about optics. He's angry not at the decay itself, but that people finally noticed. It's like a serial bank robber apologizing only after being caught on camera during his 26th heist.
So Newsom is fed up with tent cities, the crime, the urban decay? No, he's not mad about that stuff. He's mad you noticed. It's like a criminal telling a jury he's sorry he robbed 25 banks when he's just sorry he got caught on the 26th. Because this isn't some spontaneous crisis. It's a man-made disaster like Chernobyl or Fox and Friends.
And that's exactly where Gutfeld trained his fire. He went in without hesitation. He didn't bother with a soft setup or a long preamble. He dove straight into the rot, peeling away Newsom's carefully cultivated persona with the precision of a surgeon. You confuse order with authoritarianism, Gutfeld mocked, and what you get is chaos and destruction. The line cut through the air like a blade, hitting not just at Newsom, but at the entire Democratic leadership model he represents.
Took common sense as his high ground.
Right.
There's no place outside of it.
That's right.
And so they're stuck in this horrible, horrible place, much like you, Jamie, and your life. As California falls apart, it must remind you somewhat of your own personal life.
Yeah. Sometimes I look at footage of California and I go, oh, look how much better it is than my life.
California, Gutfeld pointed out, is now less a beacon of progress and more a dystopian cautionary tale. Tent cities stretch block after block. Families stepping over syringes has become as normal as crossing the street. Elon Musk, tired of the endless taxes, packed up and flew to Texas, turning a once booming Silicon Valley into a case study in economic self-sabotage. Smash and grab thefts transformed department stores into displays of shattered glass, and carjackings became as casual as hailing an Uber.
His track record, his performance as mayor, as lieutenant governor, and governor. And your analogies are great. I think mine are better. And just hold on. And here's why. He shows up at the fires and says, who the hell caused this? I'm going to crack down on the people responsible. He sees the homeless encampments blocking the sidewalks and said, you guys clean that up. He started it. He spent $3 billion to fix it. And his opening words in 2020 when he got the job is a disgrace. The richest state in the country and the richest nation of the world has a homeless problem. I will fix it. He spends $1 billion. When it's not fixed, he blames the mayors. And he also forced the movie industry and Silicon Valley out of the best state in the country by high taxes. I've never seen someone with such a bad performance, but yet I think he's the front runner to get the nomination for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. They got nobody else. Sherrod, welcome.
Yes.
And yet, somehow, Newsom is still floated as the Democratic frontrunner should Biden step aside. But perhaps what truly ignited Gutfeld's fury was the hypocrisy. Because while Newsom's state burned with dysfunction, he still found time to scold other states, lecturing Florida on book bans, wagging his finger at Texas over abortion laws, posturing about freedom and morality as though his own streets weren't drowning in fentanyl and despair. Gutfeld turned the spotlight on this double performance, exposing it not just as empty, but as pure theater.
Last week, Newsom said he hopes the conservative Supreme Court will overturn the current law that bans his state from removing out-of-control homeless encampments. Imagine that. Well, what did you expect, Gavin? That the sanctuary seekers were going to show up in Winnebagos? Once again, another example of a high-profile lib using his big mouth to write a check his ass can't cash. Last year, after the Texas Governor Abbott ordered that parents of transitioning children should face criminal investigation, Newsom then tweeted this: "Trans kids and their families should be celebrated, not targeted by the state. They are heroes." And so to fearful families in Texas right now, California's door is always open to you.
It was performance art from a politician who had long mistaken optics for leadership. And then came the pandemic. California, under Newsom's orders, became a fortress of restrictions. Churches shuttered, small businesses strangled, children locked out of classrooms. Yet Newsom himself was caught dining maskless at the French Laundry, one of the most exclusive restaurants in the country, sipping fine wine with the elite as if the rules were written for someone else. The contradictions pile higher than the tents lining San Francisco sidewalks. Newsom once promised California would be a sanctuary for anyone in need. He championed the open-door policy until people actually showed up.
Why do I keep bringing up Gavin? Well, other than my respect for his work in American Psycho, he's starting to distance himself from his party's worst ideas. Newsom, a guy who hates fossil fuels but could still bring down the price of gas by wringing out his hair, once proclaimed that his state would be a sanctuary to all who seek it. Then people actually came.
Gutfeld laid it all out with the kind of brutal clarity that comedy delivers best. California isn't a model, it's a warning. It's not a shining city on a hill. It's a glittering mansion with cracks in the foundation, mold in the walls, and despair leaking through the roof. It's slogans propping up collapsed beams, catchphrases masking the decay. That, Gutfeld declared, is Newsom's California, a catastrophe wrapped in progressive wrapping paper.
Used to sell maps of celebrity homes, not landmines. Now, instead of sightseeing, tourists play hopscotch so their shoes don't get hepatitis. And when residents complain, they're called cruel. And now we're supposed to believe Gavin? Hell no. All the problems of the last decade were based on his and his party's lies.
Even on sensitive issues, the hypocrisy bleeds through. When Texas passed legislation scrutinizing parents of transitioning children, Newsom postured online, declaring California's doors open to all. Yet later, when California lawmakers advanced a proposal forcing judges in custody cases to side with parents affirming gender transitions, Newsom vetoed it, claiming the law was unnecessary. He tried to have it both ways, to posture as progressive while dodging the blowback of an unpopular policy.
Then came the national polling. By overwhelming majorities, it turns out Americans don't favor minors transitioning. So last week, when a California law was proposed that judges in custody cases favor the parent who supports transitioning a child's new gender, Newsom killed that law quicker than a late-term abortion. Yeah, I know, huh? Now, the left, being the left, was outraged, but they missed something, because now Newsom says he only vetoed it since it's already the law.
The brilliance of Gutfeld's monologue wasn't in shouting down Newsom, but in stripping him bare with humor, sarcasm, and undeniable facts. He compared California to a once grand estate, shiny windows, lush lawns, but inside, everything is crumbling. That image stuck, because it wasn't just a joke. It was the truth. By the time Gutfeld finished, the illusion was gone. Newsom was no longer the progressive savior, the photogenic politician destined for bigger things.
Just watch him answer the tough questions.
Any other questions here?
Yes, Governor. California has a terrible homeless problem. Why do you think that is?
I appreciate that question. And I think it's a matter of perspective. Let's kind of flip the script on that, okay? Let's kind of put a new lens on that. I mean, you see a homeless man, I see an outdoorsman. We got a lot of natural habitat in this state, and I'm just so proud that so many people in California can take advantage of that. All right, next question.
And perhaps the most devastating part? Gutfeld didn't need anger or volume or theatrics. He simply needed the truth. Delivered with a smirk, sharpened with irony, and wrapped in humor, it cut deeper than rage ever could. It wasn't just a takedown, it was obliteration. And somewhere, whether in Sacramento or a luxury hotel suite, Gavin Newsom likely smiled to himself, still convinced no TV host could touch him. But he was wrong, because that night, Greg Gutfeld didn't just touch the armor. He cracked it open, danced in the rubble, and left nothing but fragments behind. Newsom wanted to sell America on California's glittering dream. Gutfeld showed the country the nightmare underneath. And once that curtain has been pulled back, it can't be unseen.